USA for UNHCR was founded by concerned Americans who really wanted to ensure bilateral support for UNHCR's funding. We were founded to ensure that every refugee receives help in terms of life-saving assistance, hope in terms of preparing for resettlement through education and employment opportunities, and home. And that may not be their original home. It may be a new home in a new country. Our job is to raise awareness for the refugee cause, raise funds for the refugee cause, and really celebrate how much and how supportive Americans have been of refugees.
Gene Dewey was the Deputy High Commissioner, and he really came up with the concept, with the support of Mark Vittert, to raise private sector funds in the United States for UNHCR. Gene is an amazing human being. He's worked globally, really doing just amazing work to help human beings. And he saw this as an opportunity beyond government support for the private sector to help. And it was his concept, and he put it in play.
I joined the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, in 1986. The Office of the High Commissioner for Refugees, better known as the UN Refugee Agency, has a responsibility for providing assistance and protection, legal protection, for refugees around the world. There's always a desperate need for money. The needs are growing so fast and the resources are coming in never enough to meet the total need. Today, the outreach of USA for UNHCR is fantastic. And these are needs that have a human face on them. They are families that have had desperate situations, escaping terror, escaping crime, escaping violence, escaping persecution, and have had the benefit of the assistance and protection of the staff of UNHCR.
We are the fundraising partner, and we support their mission to protect refugees who've had to flee their homes with little to nothing more than the clothes on their back due to violence, conflict, and persecution.
The purpose of the national counterpart is to raise awareness about refugees, to help people stand in the shoes of refugees, to see what the need is, to recognize where the money comes from for refugees. It comes from their governments, most of it. But the governments are more likely to give when the people are behind it. So if the people know about it, governments tend to be more generous. And that's a huge role for USA for UNHCR and other national counterparts.
USA for UNHCR's mission is to provide refugees with hope, help them to restore their dignity, and help them to rebuild their lives.
USA for UNHCR's vision is a world without refugees.
Now, what does that mean? That sounds very big, very grand. But a world without refugees might mean that all refugees are accepted into a welcoming community. And we know that Americans feel that once refugees are resettled in their country, they're no longer refugees, they're Americans. They're people in our community. Most refugees just want to go home, and we try to help them do that wherever that's possible, but the reality is most refugees will end up settling in a new country, usually a host country, much closer to their home. We have a very bright future at USA for UNHCR. We've grown from an organization that was raising around $5 million in revenue for refugee programs at UNHCR to one that's on track to raise more than $100 million. Our future is one of really building out more programs and opportunities for Americans to engage with the cause. But most importantly, it's going to be the impact that we can point to that we've directly had on the lives of refugees around the world.